So in the last class, we have studied about the various functions of educational management, and the easiest way to learn all those functions, it is to be learned as postcard, where P stands for planning, O stands for organizing, S stands for staffing, then D for directing, CO control and coordination, R report and recording, and then B budgeting, and E is evaluating. So today we are dealing with the next topic, which is most important topic of this unit, we can say that, and the topic is principles of educational management. Now, what do you mean by the term principle? What do you think? What are principles?
Rules.
Yes, rules. What else? Simple rules that can be followed, or in other words, you can say that principles are the guidelines uh, that should be followed by any educational manager in order to change his or her behavior. So today's topic is belonging to that principle of educational management, and as per the syllabus, we will be taking up the principles given by Henry Fayol. Now, my question to all the commerce students, because already they have studied about this topic, can you just let me know about Henry Fayol, something about Henry Fayol that you are aware of? I hope you can just recall the principles of educational management that you have studied in your commerce subject. Not,
Ma'am, you want to know about Henry Fayol.
yes,
So I think, as much as I remember, he is a French person who basically found out these principles uh, from the industry perspective.
yes. He
So
he
he
was yes, he was one of the famous industrialists. You can say that initial days of his, he joined as an engineer in a French coal mine factory, France, which is located in France. And later on, after maybe after 20 to 25, late in the year 1888, somewhere around that, he became the MD of that company. But when he became the MD of that company, the company was at the verge of bankruptcy. So now the challenge in front of him was how to convert this situation of company into a successful one. So he found that it was very difficult to take out the work from the workers, right? And during the same time, even another scientist was there, whose name was Taylor. This is also you were very much aware of, who was the father of, yes, commerce student, कौन था वो father of? I hope you are all are aware of your content test. Very soon we will be taking up your content test.
Yes, ma'am.
So in that, such kind of questions can come. So father of scientific management, he Taylor, another scientist. He was also the mechanical engineer, and he was also dealing with the same thing, how to get the maximum output from a company, right? So he was working on the relationship of work and workers. So according to Taylor, he was like, if we can take out the work from workers as machines. Machines means non-stop. If they are working and working and working, then we can have the maximum output. So this is what he came out with the idea. But if we see, if we talk about Henry Fayol, his opinion was totally different. He was working on managerial skills. See, he wanted that instead of working on workers, why not to work on the work management? So that's how he advocated. He came up with different rules, different guidelines, and till date, all the companies, not only the factories and the industries, even it reached to our education field. And everywhere we found that these 14 principles, these are very, very, very important in terms of getting the maximum output from the employees or workers, whatever we can say. If you are talking about industries or workers, or if you are talking about the institutions, it can be the employees. So that's how he advocated or formulated 14 principles which should be followed, which acted as the guidelines for any educational management in order to change the his behavior, as well as in order to get the maximum work from the employees. And that's how they had changed he had changed the conditions of bankruptcy into the you can say he was able to turn out the fortune of the company. So that's how this was the brief historical background of principles of management. And when it is implemented in the field of education, so that's why it's known as principles of educational management. So there are 14 principles of educational management, and today we will be dealing with all those principles one by one. Okay. So when you will be writing this answer in your examination at that time, you are supposed to give the examples from education field, right? Remember, commerce students, when you are writing this answer, you are writing from industry's point of view or the business point of view. But think because it is the educational management subject, so you need to give the examples from school or college or any institution, educational institution. So that's the only difference you will find. Else everything will remain same that you have studied in your 11th standard. Okay, so coming back to the principle, so the one by one we'll be taking up that. Let me show you one image. What can you understand by this? Any idea that you are getting through this?
Ma'am, there is a queen bee and others are working for her
Yeah.
according to her
What
command.
else? What else? Anyone else except for Shantani?
Ma'am, they are following her command.
Who? Who are following the commands?
Ma'am, the remaining bees are following the command of the queen bee.
Okay. What else? Have you ever studied about the honeybee and the entire colony of honeybee? They basically these are three different identity. Whenever you are studying about honeybee, you will find that in that hive, three different categories are there. One is,
Ma'am, the work is divided.
yes, work is divided. Very good. So one is the queen honeybee. Another one is, who is this one? Ye the one ये कौन होगी? This question is for
Worker B.
yes. This one is the worker B and ये कौन होनी चाहिए? This question is for science students. They must be aware of the three categories. Queen है, worker है, और third one is the drones, right? So whenever you will find any beehive, you will find these three categories are present in that beehive. So the work of queen bee is to lay eggs. That's it. Okay. Then the work of this drone, all the male bees, they belong to drones and their work is, yes, what is their work, science students? क्या काम करते हैं ये?
Ma'am, only reproduction.
Yes, their work is to impregnate the young queen and they are sometimes they are maintaining the temperature of the hive. That's it. And the rest of the work will be done by these workers. So these workers are the female bees and which are infertile, you can say, which are not supposed to lay the eggs, and they are busy in doing the protection of the beehive or collecting nectar. All those work will be done by them. So it means when we are having a colony, the work is divided among different people. If we are talk about our educational management also, educational institution, sorry. So there also there are different people, right? Institution is one similar to beehive. One side is beehive, another side is educational institution. In beehive, we can find out a queen, drone, and the worker. Whereas in educational institution, we can have teachers, students, principal, manager, or the clerk, or the PNs and all those human resources are present. So similar to this, uh, just a minute. Okay. So similar to their function, even in the educational institution, there are different people and they all are aware of their roles. So whenever some work is there, so each one of the individual is aware of his or her own role, what exactly they have to do, how they have to do. So this principle says that it is nothing but the division of work. Whenever some kind of work is there in the institution, instead of doing all the work himself, these principles are meant for the manager or the head of the institution or the administrator, remember this thing. So instead of taking all the workload himself, why not to divide the work into various human resources who all are working in the institution. So if this strategy will be followed, the workload will be decreased as well as we can increase the quality of the work. How? कैसे क्वालिटी बढ़ जाएगी?
Ma'am, because a particular type of employee would be working on the same thing over and over again and their efficiency would increase.
Yes, the efficiency can be enhanced when you are giving the work to someone who is capable, to someone who is able to perform the duties much better than the others. So according to the capability, according to the interest, according to the ability of the individuals, if you are assigning the roles to them, definitely the efficiency, the work efficiency will be much more as compared to the other situation where if I am assigning the work to someone who is not at all interested in doing the work, right, or who is not at all capable. We all are having our own interests, we all are having our own abilities and the capabilities. So if I am getting a work in which I am not at all interested, so I am not going to put my 100%. Maybe I am in the confused state, I don't know what to do, how to do, right? So many questions will be there in front of me, so that's why that will pull me back. So I won't be able to give my 100%. Whereas in the second situation, if the work is given to me in which I am very much interested, I have experience of doing this. So many times I have done the same work and the same work is being allotted to me. So maybe I'll be able to finish that task within the stipulated period of time or even before the deadline. So that's how my efficiency will be increased, as well as I can be responsible for providing the quality work, and even the speed of the work will it is going to be increased, because I am very much capable, I have already done that, तो वो फटाफट मैं कर पाऊंगी उस चीज को. So this principle, it says that always the work, whenever the work is there, instead of giving the work to one particular individual, it's always better to divide the work into different people. So how we are going to divide the work? The division of work, it should take place on the basis of the abilities, on the basis of the capabilities. When I am saying abilities and capabilities, is it same or is it different?
It's different, ma'am.
What's the difference between both the terms, capability and ability?
Ma'am, can we say he is able to do it? मतलब वो कर सकता है, capability मतलब वो कितना कर सकता है.
Basically, when we are saying capability, we are talking about the how mentally strong the person is. And when we are saying ability, we are talking about the physical strength of that individual, right? So according to the capability, according to the ability, according to the interest of the individual, always the work should be given. So if the manager is going to follow this technique, definitely the workers, they will be happy, because each one of them, they will be getting the interested area, the work related to their interest according to their taste, and they are going to put up more efforts, and which will lead to the maximum output. So if I will ask the question, what example you can give from educational institution point of view, what are you going to give? What will you write? Any example from school?
Ma'am, assigning different subjects to different teachers.
Yes, that can be one of the example. Assigning different subjects to teach different as per their qualification, as per their experience. Always the subjects are being allotted as per their interest. Also, if we talk about the portfolios, we know there are different portfolios to be handled. So teacher's job is not only to teach, but to manage other things also. So at the time of distribution of portfolios, the if the head will keep this point in mind, that everyone's portfolio's workload should remain same, right? And everyone should get the portfolio in which he or she is capable of, so the result will be much more fruitful. And if the same portfolio is being repeated for maybe for 2 to 3 years, for some time, that will also will be an added advantage. How? अगर तुम्हें सेम वर्क असाइन करेंगे बार बार, उससे क्या होगा? Say for example, that day you were doing role play. Those who were from drama and art, already they were in that role. They had played the role of the respective personality. Then I repeated the same activity. So they must have improved their performances, right? If I will repeat it again with the same character or almost the same script, again the chances of improvement will be more, and there will be one stage when जैसे मैं बोलूंगी ओके रानी लक्ष्मीबाई एंड फटाफट you will be able to perform on this spot, right? So it means at one day you will reach to the mastery level, you will become the expert in that field. So that is also, this will be an added advantage if the same work is being repeated, same work is being allotted to the concerned person again and again. So that doesn't mean that that person should be just locked with that particular portfolio or the work. It's only that until and unless the person has not attained the mastery level, we should repeat the assignment of the same role, try to repeat the assignment of the same role to the same individual. Once the person has achieved, once the person is capable enough to perform the task, then we can switch the role with some other person. Then that person will be able to guide to the subordinates, and at the same time he will be able to learn something new. So that's how this the allotment of the work, it should take place. So this was principle number 1, which says that the work should be divided among the individual according to their interests, according to their ability and capability. Next is this one. With this image, what do you understand? One side of the image is giving you some idea and another side of the image is giving you separate idea. What should be that? Right वाली side क्या बता रही है? What is the message this image is giving? All the fingers are pointing towards one individual. What does it indicate?
That he is
Ma'am,
held
blaming.
accountable.
They are blaming. Okay. Someone else was also saying something.
Ma'am, it was same. Like he's been held accountable for something that he has done.
Yes. So all are blaming, all are pointing towards towards one particular individual. So he or she is being accountable for something. He or she is being answerable related to some work. Whereas to the first half of the image, left hand side of the image, what it is saying, it's one kind of pyramid, you can say, and on at the topmost position, one individual is there. So why it is colored as red? Rest all are having same color. So this is giving some message to us.
He is the leader.
Yes, he is the leader. He is having the power to give the command, to give the order. To whom he is going to give the order?
To the subordinates.
To its subordinates.
Yes, to the subordinates. Those who are working under him or her, to all those people, he has that power to take the decision, and after taking the decision, he or she is able to give the orders and the commands. Please mute yourself. So that's how he or she will be able to receive the obedience from his subordinates, because he is having that power in himself. So when we are talking about the first half of the image, this particular situation is known as authority, right? So authority is the right to give the orders or the command, whereas the second half of the image, that was indicating about the responsibility. So responsibility is being accountable and is therefore naturally associated with authority. So coming back to to this principle, what this principle says, that authority and responsibilities, they should come, they should go hand in hand. There should be a balance between authority and the responsibility. Now, what can be the example for that? An example, अगर मैं एक work allot कर रही हूँ, work whenever I am allotting the work to one person, then he or she is made responsible for the result of that work. So that is what it is known as authority and responsibility. Say for example, let us take one situation. The situation is to beautify the campus, right? Being the management people or being one of the trustee, I am giving the responsibility of beautifying our campus to the head of the institution, right? मैंने उसको responsibility दे दी है, but I am not ready to give the authority to him or her. So what will happen? I want that my campus should look beautiful, but at the same time, I don't want him or her to take any decision. I'm not given that right to that person. What will happen? Will I get the beautiful campus the way whatever I am expecting? Will I get 100% result from that person?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No. Why?
He will not do the work with that of interest.
Because see, in order to do something, that person should have some powers, right? मेरे उससे power तो कोई दी ही नहीं है to take this decision. Even for the simplest of the simplest thing, that person has to reach to me and he has to ask me whether I should do this thing or that thing. So he is not free enough to take any kind of decision from his own side. ब्यूटिफिकेशन तो चाहिए, लेकिन वेन एवर वी आर सेइंग टू ब्यूटिफाई द कैंपस, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, क्या क्या कर सकते हैं हम लोग? हाउ वी कैन ब्यूटिफाई आवर कैंपस? अगर तुम्हें मैं एक रोल असाइन करती हूँ, ओके, जस्ट एट योर होम, इन योर रूम, तुम्हें उसे डेकोरेट करना है, तो व्हाट विल यू डू? हाउ विल यू डेकोरेट योर रूम टू लुक इट मच मोर प्रेजेंटेबल?
Ma'am, some paints, flower pots,
Okay.
all these things I might include in my renovation.
Yes, but I'm not giving you the liberty to take the decision, right? These are your ideas. If this responsibility is given to me, like if the task is to decorate my room, I am going to add the colorful paints, or I am going to bring the pots in my room, or some you are going to, if you are interested in keeping the teddy bears, I am going to keep all those, or any frames, whatever is your choice or interest. So these are your ideas, but until and unless I am not providing you sufficient finances, or if I'm not going to let you bring all those material into your home, you won't be able to do the things, right? The execution of your planning, it is difficult for you. if you would have be given the equal authority, then the task would have been accomplished, right? मैंने तुम्हें बोल दिया जो मर्जी तुम चाहो कर सकते हो, लेकिन मुझे एंड प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, तुम्हारा रूम अच्छे से डेकोरेट होना चाहिए. So it means I am giving you the authority. You can do anything, whether you want to paint it yourself or you want to bring some workers or helpers to paint your room. You want to change the furniture of the room. So this is entirely up to you all. I have given you freedom to take any decision. So it means I am giving you the authority, and as well as the responsibility is given to you to decorate your room. So it means both are going simultaneously, then only that work will be able to finish, right? थर्ड सिचुएशन क्या हो सकती है? मैंने तुम्हें अथॉरिटी तो दी है पर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं दी है. मैंने तुम्हें बोला है यू कैन डू एनीथिंग वट एवर यू वॉन्ट टू डू, बट मैंने कोई टास्क ही असाइन नहीं किया है. उस केस में क्या होगा?
There will be confusion कि करना क्या है.
करना क्या है, and at the time the people will start taking advantage of this situation, right? Because you know that I am the, in this situation I am the king or the queen of this house. I can do anything. I can watch TV, I can play with the Xbox, or I can do yoga, I can eat, I can do anything, and nobody is going to ask me any question related to that, because you are not sure what exactly you have to do. So you can take the advantage of this situation. You can order your siblings, okay, go to the kitchen and bring this thing to me, serve this thing to me. Now it's I want to see this thing. So एक तरह से dictatorship will start, right? Similarly, coming back to our educational institution, there also it's the if the head is giving some responsibility to the individuals, to the subordinates, so it means that along with that give the person some right to take the decision, right? So this is very, very important. So this principle says that authority and responsibilities, there should be a balance between that if you want to get good result. So in that case, just a minute. How many students were present today, Maria?
There were 40.
40?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Huma, your mic is on.
And she is outside also. So this was the second principle, which focus on giving the authority and responsibility to the same individual. So for the educational manager, if you want to get the result, if you have given any responsibility to him, so at the same time, the authority should also be given to him, right? One more example we can take up related to this. Suppose the task is to increase the strength of the pupils. This is the task, right? So ये responsibility दे दी है through management. This responsibility has been provided to the head of the institution, so that they can enroll more number of students. So responsibility is there, but authority is not given to him or her. So in same manner, what will happen when no authority is given? तो क्या होगा? we are asking the question, same question again and again, why the number of students are less. But we are not aware of this thing, that we have not at all given any authority to take any decision, to give the order, so that the principal or the head of the institution will be able to enroll more number of students. So authority and responsibility, it should be given equal to the concerned person. Then only we can expect the result. Then only the person is answerable to the main person. Okay, so this was the principle of authority and responsibility. Next, one more principle. If I'm showing you this image, so this image is linking with our next principle, which says that unity of command, which talk about unity of command. So what does it mean? Unity of command is, suppose in a classroom, one student is there and 5 different students, they are giving him the various commands, right? You do this, that. एक काम finish नहीं हो रहा है, the person is getting the second command from the second individual, then third, then fourth, then fifth. There are n number of people, and all the people, they are giving the various commands to the student A, suppose. So in that case, that student will get confused, किसका order में लूं, किसका नहीं लूं. Like similarly, जैसे हम रेस्टोरेंट में जाते हैं, sometimes it happens, we are ordering something when there is the lack of human resource in a particular restaurant. At that moment, we can face this situation. One waiter is there, and on each table people are sitting and they are calling him again and again. You bring this, our next order is that, that and that. So what happened, there is a delay in delivering of the meals, right? क्यों वो डिले होता है? Because the waiter is getting confused, किसका ऑर्डर पहले लूं, किसका बाद में लूं. So this is what it is happening, is unity of command. Coming back to our educational institution, there also, if an individual is receiving the order from more than one person, right, more than one superior at a time, so it will be difficult for that individual to respond, to finish the task. So this, what this command it focus on, it always focus on, there should be only one boss, one superior at a time, so that he should be answerable only to that particular individual. No one else is going to disturb him or her in between. So if there will be too many bosses, and all the bosses, they are giving the individual the instructions or the orders or the commands to a single individual, that can create a lot of confusion, chaos, and the person will lose the interest, because he won't be able to prioritize the thing. So he won't be able to decide which one is the priority for the individual. So that's why, for the better efficiency or for the maximum output, always this principle should keep in mind, that there should be only only one superior, or you can say the supervisor, or you can say the boss, and that person is going to give the order. So the individuals, they are very, very clear to whom they are answerable to, and to whom they have to take, with whom they have to take the orders from. So the benefit of this unity of command principle is, there will be no conflicts. कोई एक दूसरे को बोलेगा नहीं कि उसने ऐसा बोला था, उसने वैसा बोला था. There will be no confusion. It is going to improve the efficiency of the individual or the employee. And if we are working with one single individual, that will help us in maintaining the relationship also. The harmonious relationship can also be established with the help of such type of principle. So this is the unity of command. Clear as आपको? So till now we have covered three different principles. Principle number 1, division of work, which says that work should be divided among the employees and according to their capability, according to their ability and the interest. And it's better to allot the same work to the same individual again and again until he or she reach to the mastery level. Second one is authority and responsibility. It means there should be a balance between the authority and the responsibility. The work will be allotted and he and she is made responsible for, made accountable for the results. Third one is unity of command. So unity of command is always the command or the order should come from a single individual rather than multiple individuals. So these are the three principles that we have studied. यहाँ तक किसी को कोई डाउट है? हर एक का एग्जाम्पल हमने कर लिया है. रिमेंबर दिस थिंग, यू हैव टू राइट द एग्जाम्पल, एटलीस्ट वन एग्जाम्पल फॉर one principle. So for unity of command, which example will you write? Give one example for that. Any example?
Ma'am, in schools, like there are different houses, and
Yes.
all the houses have one teacher who will command, and
Correct.
whatever she says, that has to be carried out by the students. There is only
Correct.
one single body who's giving instructions that is followed by the followers.
Correct, correct. Similarly, in case of any function, say for example, annual function, the duties are being allotted and each teacher or each superior is given the authority and the responsibility. Suppose one teacher is responsible for all the dances, one is responsible for all the singing program, another one is responsible for dramatization. So it means the work has been divided among all the teachers. That was our principle number 1. Authority and responsibility is given to them. The responsibility is to take charge of dancing program, take charge of singing program, take charge of dramatization program, and they are free enough to take the decision. So they can select the students as per their capabilities or as per their abilities. They can go for the auditions, right? So this is what the authority has been given to them. So it's not like that all the time they have to call or they have to speak to the main boss or the head of the institution. Should I appoint this person? Should I assign this person the role of Sita or the role of Ram or something else? Right? So this is not happening like that. So the head has delegated the duty to the various teachers, and at the same time authority has been provided to the teachers to take the right decision at right time. So that was your principle 2. And then coming to the third one, that is unity of command. The students, they if they are having any problem, any queries, so they will go to the respective teachers only. Suppose the dance, the group dance students, they are facing some problem related to their costume, they related to their step. So they will go to the respective in charge teacher only related to that problem. They are not supposed to go to the principal room or to someone else who is not at all in charge of that. So that's how this chain will be followed. So this is the unity of command. So एक ही example से देखो सारे principles you can find out. So for unity of command, one boss and one command. Next, similar to that principle, another one is there are two more images. What can you understand from this?
direction.
Yes, there are a first image. If you see, there are group of people who are following a particular person. The person with red color, it means he or she may be the head, right? And the group of people, they are following him, and all are moving towards the same direction, right? नीचे वाला देखो, नीचे वाले इमेज में क्या दिख रहा है?
All are different, but they have that one particular goal that they are following.
Yes, very good. All are different individual, but they are targeting at the central point. So it means their goal or their objective are same. That's what is our next principle, which says that, which is known as unity of direction. So it means that there should be one head and always one plan should be there for a group of people, and all the group of people, they are having the same objective, right? So this is what this principle says, that unity of direction, all should move in the same direction with the same objective. So the difference between unity of command and unity of direction is, unity of command says that there should be only one boss and the orders should come from that boss only, and the person is responsible, the person is answerable only to that person from whom the orders are coming. That's what unity of command is. Unity of direction, it focus on the direction. It means that the group of, there are different group of activities which are occurring in an institution, and all are moving towards one common objective. I'll give you one example. Say for example, the reputation of the institution. The main objective is to enhance the reputation of the institution. Now the work will be divided. If there are different ways through which we can enhance the reputation of our institution. So we can have different areas, we can segregate those areas, we can work on the infrastructure, right? कुछ लोग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर ध्यान दें कि हम अपना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बेटर करें, so that we can enhance our reputation in the society. Some can work on the academics, right? Some can work on the co-curricular activity, some can work on the management skills. So there are different areas on which we can work. So we can allot the different duties to different individuals who will work specifically on these areas. So maybe in an institution, if 20 people are there, so according to me, I have divided the main objective into 4 different steps. So there will be team of, there will be how many teams? अगर 20 people हैं, 4 एरिया हैं, कितनी टीम होगी जो काम करेगी? 4, obviously 4. 4 areas are there. The teams are going to work on those 4 areas. So there I am going to assign 4 teams. In 4 teams, 5 individual will be working. So 5 individual will be working only on co-curricular activity, how they can just bring new co-curricular activities, they can enhance the confidence of the individual, they can go with the inter-school or inter-college competitions, many things they can do with co-curricular activities, so that the reputation can be increased. Similarly, team B, they will work on the academics, right? 100% result, all should get good marks, score high, or related to the science fair or any other fair, educational fair will be there. So all their work will be related to academics. Team 3 will work on the management skills, how the organizational climate should be good one. So everyone should know what they are doing, how they are doing. So simply the things to be simplified. Team 4, the team 4 is going to work on the infrastructure. हम infrastructure को कैसे better करें. So it means ये जो सारे लोग थे, ये एक ही चीज पे काम कर रहे हैं, and their main aim is to increase the reputation of the institution. So that is what it is meant to be, unity of direction. All are going to the same direction. Maybe for some time their intentions are different, their activities are different, but at the end, with the help of those group of activities, they will reach to their final destination. They will reach to their final objective. So their objective is common, but their activities may be different, right? So this is the next principle, unity of direction, where in the institution all the people, all the human resources, they will move towards one direction in order to achieve the कॉमन ऑब्जेक्टिव. सबका ऑब्जेक्टिव सेम है. जैसे अब अभी तुम्हारा इंटर्नशिप शुरू होगा, तो तुम सबका all 45 का objective will remain same, to finish your internship task. So there are so many tasks. You have to teach, you have to perform something, you have to take the test, you have to conduct assemblies. So सबको पता है कि हमें क्या काम करना है. We have to finish the internship work. So that is the common objective given to all. But हम सब different schools में करेंगे, right? So you will be divided into different groups, and as per the school situation, as per the school timetable, as per the availability of the students, your timetable will be fixed. सबका अगर मैं ये बोलूं कि सबको एक सीसी एक्टिविटी कंडक्ट करनी है, तो आई एम नॉट श्योर that in all the schools you all will be able to conduct the same CCA activity, right? तुम्हारे सिलेबस में है कि 1 CCA activity should be conducted by the individual whenever they are going for internship. But when we have divided our work, when we are going to different schools, so we are not sure that which CCA activity you all will be able to conduct. So लेकिन तुम्हारा ऑब्जेक्टिव सेम है, एक होना चाहिए. वो सीसी एक्टिविटी या तो ऐसे राइटिंग भी हो सकता है, और इट कैन बी पॉट डेकोरेशन, और इट कैन बी पोएम रेसिटेशन, और समथिंग एल्स. So the main intention is to get the CCA activity conducted. So that's what the unity of direction is. So there will be one head who will lead the team. Because one head will be there, there will be no chaos. One plan will be there, and all are going to follow the head's instruction under his or her guidance. All will be moving towards the same direction so that they can achieve the same objective. Clear है सबको ये object, ये principle unity of direction? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So unity of direction is one head, one plan, and reaching towards the same direction in order to achieve the same objective. Another principle, now this is very common, I think in your SEM 1, we have studied about this concept. You can divide this image into two halves again.
Equity.
Yes, equity. This image shows that it's the equality and the equity. And you know the difference between equality and equity in your SEM 1 in gender subject. You have already studied about the difference between equality and equity. What is the difference? जेंडर इक्वालिटी पढ़ा था तुमने और जेंडर इक्विटी पढ़ा था. क्या था वो? In this case, what is happening? 3 people are there and they are trying to approach. They are trying to get the apples from the tree. So in first half of the image, you can see that they have the difference in their heights. So you can see that the blocks on which they are standing up. So what is the difference between difference between both the images related to blocks? First half में same block is provided to all the 3 people, right? देखो height जो है same है. ये 3 जो है.
Ma'am, this is equity quality वाला concept.
ये equity है.
No, this is equality.
This is
And that is
equality.
the-
Yes, this is equality, because we are giving same thing to all the individual, right? We are giving the same blocks to all three. So equality means the sameness, right?
Fairness
हम
also.
जब हम सेम चीज सबको दे रहे हैं, हमको सिर्फ ये देखना है कि सबको सब चीजें मिले, राइट? व्हेन आवर इंटेंशन इज दिस थिंग. So in this case, I have this block with me and I want that each one of them, they should get this block from me. So that's why मैंने ये तीनों उनको दे दिया. So it means first half of the image is indicating towards equality. Whereas if you see the second half में क्या हो रहा है? Blocks का number change हो रहा है. The first person, the tallest among the three, he is having only one. Then the middle one is having 2 and the third one is getting 3. यहाँ पर ये जो ब्लॉक्स का नंबर है ये डिफरेंट हो रहा है. क्यों डिफरेंट हो रहा है? बिकॉज यहाँ पर मेरा इंटेंशन ये नहीं है कि सबको एक जैसी चीज मिले. माई इंटेंशन इज गिविंग द पीपल व्हाट दे एग्जैक्टली नीड, राइट? जब मैं यहाँ पर फर्स्ट केस में उनको सेम चीज दे रही थी, उनका ऑब्जेक्टिव पूरा नहीं हो रहा था. ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? दे वांट टू रीच टू दिस एप्पल. स्टिल व्हेन आई वाज प्रोवाइडिंग द सेम ब्लॉक टू एवरीवन, उस केस में भी वही हो रहा था. टॉलेस्ट वाला जो था वो उसको ही एप्पल मिल रहा है और बाकी दो को एप्पल नहीं मिल रहा है, राइट? लेकिन मैंने तो अपना इंटेंशन पूरा कर दिया. आई हैव गिवन द सेम थिंग टू एवरीवन, दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज इक्वालिटी. बट इन द सेकंड हाफ मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि ईच वन ऑफ देम शुड गेट द एप्पल्स, राइट? So that is their need. In this situation, their need is to get the apples. So what I have to do, I have to provide them those things which will be helpful for them so that they can fulfill their needs. So that's why instead of giving them one block to each one, what I have done, because he was the tallest, इसको सिर्फ एक ब्लॉक की जरूरत थी. अगर मैं उसको 3 दे दूंगी तो वो तो और ऊपर पहुंच जाएगा, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. उसको सिर्फ एक की जरूरत थी so that he can reach to the apple. Similarly the middle one, उसको 2 की जरूरत थी so that he can get the apple. And similarly for the dwarf one, उसको 3 की जरूरत है. So this concept is known as equity. When we are focusing on the providing opportunity to the people which they require, which they actually need. So that is equity. So that's why we always say that equality doesn't mean equity. Clear है सबको? So
Yes,
in
ma'am.
equity, so the next principle is principle of equity. ठीक है? इक्वालिटी सबको करनी है, सबको एक जैसी चीजें नहीं देनी है. हमें ये देखना है किसको किस चीज की जरूरत है. जिसको जिस चीज की जरूरत है हमें उसको वो चीज देनी है. So that's what this equity says that. So equity, the principle of equity, it is based on the you can say 2 basic words. One should be kind enough, one should be fair enough, and just is also the word for equity. So employees should be treated fairly, employees should be treated equally and impartially. There should be no biasness, there should be no discrimination on the basis of sex, on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste or belief or nationality or any other way or language. तो ये सारी चीजें बीच में नहीं आनी चाहिए. There should be no such kind of discrimination. So application of same rules to everyone. So the rules should remain same, right? अगर अब मैं अगर बात करूं इक्वालिटी की, सपोज लेट्स टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ सैलरी. So if we talk about salary, so you know that there is a difference in the salary pattern, right? A PN is having different salary, a clerk will get different salary, teachers will get different, and the principal. Depending upon your post, your salary differs. Remunerations always differ, right? अब ये नहीं है कि हमें तो इक्वालिटी मानना था, हमें तो सबको सेम सैलरी देना है. दैट इज नॉट द वे. So here comes the principle of equity. So the principle of equity says that people should get the salary on the basis of their work. people should get the remuneration on the basis of their work, how much work even in some school you will find even the teachers, they are getting different salary. Same teacher है, एक मैथ्स की है, साइंस की है, कॉमर्स की है, जिसकी भी है, but among the staff members also they have segregated the sections. So the person who will work more, who will give them the results, they are getting more promotions, they are getting more salary. One kind of bonus is provided to the individual so that they should work more, they should give more input. So this is what the principle of equity says that. So always principle of equity is application of same rules to everyone. तो अगर काम कर रहे हैं तो सैलरी सबको मिलनी चाहिए, दिस इज द रूल. So this is principle of equity, right? But that doesn't mean कि सबको सेम सैलरी मिलनी चाहिए. सैलरी सबको मिलेगी लेकिन on the basis of their work, their designation, everything. So this is principle of equity. So for a educational manager, this is very, very important. So whenever the work is being divided, so the employees should be treated fairly. There should be no biasness. There should be impartiality in total, right? Clear है सबको principle of equity?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's the
Yes, ma'am.
combination. It's the combination of kindness and justice, you can say, so that you can achieve the equity. Next is now another image. It is coming. This image. Hierarchy. Yes. सामने एकदम clear cut नजर आ रहा है. This is nothing but the scalar chain. This principle says that it's the scalar chain. So it means to follow the hierarchy, the formal line of authority which moves from highest to lowest rank in the straight line. That is what the principle of scalar chain is, right? तो जब भी हमें कोई काम होता है तो हम लोग डायरेक्टली मैनेजमेंट के पास नहीं जाते हैं. से इन आवर ओन इंस्टीट्यूशन, if you want to apply for a leave, you are not going directly to sir, right? There is a proper channel to communicate. You are writing a leave, you are giving it to your class teacher, Sonia ma'am को देते हो, then Sonia ma'am is forwarding your leave to principal ma'am, and then it will go to the management later on. So this is what the hierarchy we are following. For any kind of work in any institution, there should be different levels. It should be set up. So सबसे टॉप में जितना हम टॉप में जाएंगे उतने कम लोग होंगे. This we all know. So these are the workers, these are the employees. उनके ऊपर superior है, उनके ऊपर superior है, and the topmost person is there. So if we talk about taking up of orders, the orders will come from top to bottom, right? वो bottom से top में नहीं जाएंगे. हम पूरे पीएन वगैरह कोई ऑर्डर नहीं दे रहे हैं, टीचर्स ऑर्डर नहीं दे रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स ऑर्डर नहीं दे रहे हैं. दी ऑलवेज दी पॉलिसीज और दी ऑर्डर्स और दी डिसीजंस, दे आर कमिंग फ्रॉम top to bottom in any institution. If something new thing is being introduced in the institution, it means that information is going to come from top to bottom. लेकिन अगर हमें कोई चीज रिपोर्ट करनी है, once the work is allotted, then bottom to top में जाएगा. So this is what it is, give and take relationship. So नीचे से ऊपर जाएगा या ऊपर से नीचे जाएगा. So top to bottom is the condition where the orders are being passed or the decisions are taking place, and everyone should be aware of that decision. Okay, some rules, some new rules, if it is coming into the institution, that will come from top management to the all the individual, all the human resources of the institution. But when we are answerable to, when we have been given task, at that time we all are answerable to our superiors, right? ये हमने किया है यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड में. बॉस ने कोई कमांड दिया है तो हम उसी को आंसरेबल हैं. अगर मुझे लेवल 3 में 3 से कमांड आया है, आई एम एट लेवल 4 यहाँ पे इस केस में, एंड मेरे बॉस यहाँ पर है लेवल 3 में, So whatever task has been provided to me, I am going to report it back to level 3 boss. Then maybe वो level 3 boss ऊपर report करेगा level 2 पे, and then level 2 will report to the topmost. So this is how this works. So there should be a proper hierarchy that needs to be followed at each and every stage. In the schools also you will find principals are there, vice principals are there, coordinators are there, then the class coordinators are there, mother teachers are there. So there is a proper hierarchy, and no one is supposed to break this chain. So that's why it's known as scalar chain. But in case of emergency, at that time we can just break the rule and directly we can approach. Say for example, in case of fire, कोई इमरजेंसी आई है, फायर लग गई है इंस्टीट्यूशन में, उस टाइम पे अब पीएन ये नहीं करेगा कि मैं एक हायरार्की फॉलो करती हूँ या करता हूँ, लेट मी गो टू द टीचर फर्स्ट एंड देन द टीचर विल रिपोर्ट टू द प्रिंसिपल विल रिपोर्ट टू द मैनेजमेंट, एंड देन द कॉल विल गो फ्रॉम आवर इंस्टीट्यूशन टू द फायर एक्सटिंग्विशन. दैट इज नॉट द केस. In case of emergency, we can break this chain and we can directly approach to the concerned individual. And according to Henry, when we are breaking this chain, this is known as gangplank, right? Our next principle, and with the image itself, it is very much clear what will be the principle all about. When we are seeing soldiers, the first word that comes in our mind is, what is that?
Coordination.
Coordination, yes. What else? Discipline, yes, very good. See, time management, discipline, all these are the basic characteristics of soldier. So it means that for any educational institution, discipline is also equally important. Discipline is, you can say, it is the respect towards any kind of rule or the policies. The discipline, it can be maintained through the code of conduct. Each institution is having their own code of conduct. It means how the different individuals, they have to behave in the institution. So it is set by all the educational institution. There are definite rules and policies which are there in all the educational institution, and everyone has to follow those rules and norms. So discipline is, it is the duty of the manager or the head of the institution should try to ensure that everyone, whoever is the part of the institution, should follow certain kind of discipline, right? And he himself or herself should be a discipliner, so that he or she can set the example in front of his subordinates. So why discipline is required in any institution? What do you think? What will be the effect of discipline? One example, one advantage is, one of you just said time management, right? If there is a discipline in the institution, the people will learn how to manage the time, how to accomplish the given task in the stipulated period of time. How precious time is, they will be able to know if the institution is having proper discipline. What else? और क्या benefit है discipline के?
Ma'am, knowing responsibility once.
Yes.
Knowing one responsibility.
Correct.
Like to come.
Correct. You will be more responsible because you know this kind of discipline is there in the institution. You will be more responsible. You will be more sincere about your work. Then और क्यों जरूरी है discipline? See, in all the, I'll give you one example. Nowadays, in all the institution, it is made compulsory to have biometric attendance, right? Whether it is for 11th and 12th, even it is made compulsory for students. So the students, they are coming and they are using that biometric machine and punching on that machine, that will give you the exact time at what time they are entering into the institution and what time they are leaving the institution. Same is for the staff members. So as compared to past days where people, they were coming and they were signing on register, nowadays we are focusing on biometric attendance facility. So what do you think, what will be the effect of this? How are these beneficial for the staff members or for the students?
The
Or-
teachers or the students will always arrive on time because they know that the
Yes.
timing and this would be recorded.
Yes, they will be more punctual. See, while signing on the register, we can just do here and there, maybe sometimes if you're getting some chance, right? Maybe the reporting time is 9:30 and you are just arriving at 9:35, and while signing you are just mentioning 9:30. But in biometric, you won't be able to do that, because it is, everything is digitalized, everything is automatized. So you will be honest with your work, you will be sincere with your work, you will be punctual with your work. So this is how the importance of discipline is very, very important for any educational institution. So in order to ensure that everyone is following the discipline, first it's the responsibility of the manager to reflect that kind of discipline in himself or herself. He or she should be able to set the example in front of his subordinates. Then only he can point out others and ensure that the others should also follow the same rules and regulations which is set by the management. So there are different ways to establish the discipline in any institution by the manager or the head of the institution. Like he or she can supervise at all the levels, right? Whatever work is going on in the institution. So in a day, there are different activities which are going in the institution. So he or she can just take a round. That's why you can see most of the time principals or the head of the institution, they are on round. Why they are on round? If the classes are going on, they are on round sometimes in a day. So they are checking whether the activities that is planned for the institution for that day, it is going on correctly or not. So for that, he or she needs to come out of his room or her room and supervise what all activities are taking place, whether it is taking place in the right manner or not. If not, then what's the problem, find out the reason and then get a proper solution. So that's why a complete supervision is very, very important, and that's how he can establish a discipline, right? Even another way of establishing the discipline is to make everyone aware of about the rules. Suppose I am a fresher in any institution and I don't know about any rule. Say in our example, in our own college, whenever the prayer starts, so we all have to stand where we are, wherever we are, whether we are standing at the gate or we are at first floor, second floor, third floor. Once the prayer will start, so we have to just halt there and then we have to wait until the prayer gets finished. So that is the rule set by the institution. So and we all have to follow. If as a fresher I am not knowing this rule, so how I am going to follow? So this is the duty of the manager to make me aware about the rules of the institution. So if he or she will be successful in this, then only he can expect from his subordinates that they are going to follow the rules. Then only he can point out you're not following the rules and this is the rule of, one of the rule of the institution. So explaining of the rules or making aware of the rule is very, very important from the educational manager point of view, right? Similarly, implementing a system of reward and punishment, it should be there. Punishment, it should not be the negative kind of punishment, obviously. punishment, it should be thought of a constructive kind of punishment. Say, for example, for students, if they are coming late, they're not following the discipline properly. So what kind of punishment you can give to your students? What do you think? Initially, we used to get the punishments like this one, कोई मार रहा है या वैसे है, क्लास से बाहर निकाल दिया. तो these are negative kind of punishment. Nowadays the trend has changed. Students are still getting the punishment, but everything is within the law, right? So those negative punishment, they got converted into positive punishment. So nowadays there is no more corporal punishment, and it is not at all practiced anymore. It's against the law. So what do you think? अब क्या करना चाहिए students के साथ if they are coming late?
Ma'am, we can make them realize the importance of time.
Okay, that is one way, but still, you know, some
Ma'am,
students.
in Royal, we used to have this rule. Even if you are 2 to 5 minutes late, you are not supposed to enter the class. Like you miss your lecture. Even if you are there in the lecture, you won't get the attendance. And attendance is a very big thing in Royal. So you all used to be on time.
Yes, but still that comes under one kind of negative. Towards negative side, it is much more diverted. I'm talking about constructive punishment. Constructive means you are giving something to the student, and at the same time the student is learning. So what kind of penalties can you give? पहले तो fine भी होता था. Homework, yes, you can give extra work to the child to learn. You can give extra presentation to the child. Okay, tomorrow or the next week you are going to present one of the topics. You see, if you are giving such kind of punishment, it means it's not only the punishment for the child, but at the same time the child will be able to learn something. So they are learning this thing, right? So इस तरह का punishment सोच के वो discipline imbibe करना है. तो negative punishment की तरफ divert नहीं होना है. The punishment and also the rewards. If you are doing something good for the institution, you should be appreciated by the manager. So appreciation, it can be in terms of remuneration, it can be in terms of giving credits or getting good remarks, promotion, anything. In any terms, you should get a proper reward for your work. So that's how you will feel much more motivated, and this is how you can develop the discipline in the entire institution. All right. So this is the principle of discipline. Next is, with the image itself, it is clear. क्या है? Some people are standing on ground and some are standing on this pile of coins. So what will be the principle?
Hierarchy.
अभी देखो, हायरार्की तो हमने कर ली ना, स्केलर चेन.
Management.
Equal pay for equal work.
It's the remuneration. Remuneration. So it's one kind of it's a way of ensuring that employees are very much motivated to keep performing their best, right? When you will be at your best level, when you will be fully satisfied in terms of your mental pressure, fully satisfied when you are getting the proper remuneration according to the work that you have been given, according to the qualifications that you are having, according to the experience, according to the ability. So all these factors are playing the role. So whenever in an institution the this thing is set up, the salary is set up, so during the setup of the salary of any individual, these points should be very much taken into consideration. So what kind of work if he or she is going to be given, so the you can say the post for which he or she has applied, as per their qualifications, as per their experience, as per the ability, even sometimes the cost of living. So as you all know, the cost of living is much more higher in Mumbai as compared to the other cities of India. So keeping all these factors in mind, always decide the salary of the individual. So again, remuneration, it can be done in two different forms. It can be in the monetary forms or it can be in the non-monetary forms. When I'm saying monetary forms, it means I'm talking about something related to finances. There's some kind of compensation is given to the individual, or sometimes the different bonus is provided to the individual. Although in schools these are very much these are not so usually practiced by the school people, but still some schools they have started this giving bonuses, extra remuneration for their work. So sometimes the compensation, and it can be also done in the form of non-monetary. Non-monetary means we are not going to provide the money to the concerned individual, but as we want to ensure that the person should give his or her best, he should perform well to the best of their knowledge, best of their version उनका show होना चाहिए. So that's why we should be able to give him the compliment, suitable compliment wherever it is required. Try to give credit for the work that he or she has done. अगर उसने टाइम से पहले किया है कोई जॉब तो उसको एप्रिसिएशन मिलना चाहिए. वन काइंड ऑफ लेटर वी कैन इशू टू द कंसर्न पर्सन. बेस्ट टीचर, बेस्ट स्टाफ, इस तरह का अवार्ड वी कैन इंट्रोड्यूस. So, or we can provide more responsibility to the individuals so that he or she should feel much more comfortable. Yes, he or she will feel much more responsible. So I am getting more responsibility because of my work, which has been acknowledged by the management. So these are the various way how you can just motivate the staff members. So what is the benefit of remuneration to the employees? क्या benefit होगा इससे? One is they will be giving their 100%. That's what we are assuming. They are fully satisfied with their job, so definitely they'll be giving the maximum output. What else? If you're satisfied with your job, what will be the effect?
Ma'am, they might not go away from the, like they will not leave their job. Job
Yes.
security ho jaye.
Yes, job security will be there. You are not going to leave the institution. There will be no vacancy. That's why you can easily observe in many institutions there is no vacancy at all at any time if you go, because there the management is taking care of each and everything, all the factors. So that's why people there are happy. They have introduced one kind of healthy atmosphere over there. So people are fully satisfied with their job in terms of their salary, in terms of their work. So it means that there in that institution, all the principles of educational management, it must have been taken care of. So that's why everything is going in a right manner. So there is no chaos, no confusion, no conflict. Division of work is there, discipline is there, remuneration is given. You are giving proper acknowledgement, credit, everything. So when you will get everything in one place, nobody is going to leave that job. So that is what, with the help of remuneration principle, you can say that a healthy kind of atmosphere can be developed. So which will help the individual for its smooth functioning. So this is the principle of remuneration. Next is, with this image, we can see that there are two groups, two parties, you can say. One is one single individual is standing, whereas in the second party, group of people are standing. So what is indicated? It is like
Principle of unity.
principle of subordination of individual interest to the general interest. So what exactly this principle means? It means that sometimes the we have to just keep aside one individual's interest, and we have to just think about the institution. So there may be some cases where sometimes one individual is showing that I should go in one direction, whereas the rest of the people, they are going in another direction. So it should not be like that. So whenever some work is given, always the priority should be given to the general, where the majority of people, they are going for what they feel that this is the best at that time. So we have to leave our ego, we can say, or our personal interest in front of the organizational interest. So always give preference to your organization rather than your general kind of interest, your personal kind of interest. Do you have any example for this? Say, I'll give you one example, and then you all must give one example to me. Suppose for the annual function, we all know that in the annual function, the students' costumes are prepared. In most of the schools are preparing the school students' costume for annual function. So suppose I, as the manager, I want to get 50 to 100 dresses from one shop, right? So this is my objective. I should get around 50 dresses for the annual function, right? Now, the thing is that my one of my friend is there who is also in this business, and he is giving me all the 50 dresses in much more higher rate than the market price, right? So what should I do? Should I prefer my friendship over the organizational goal or something else? क्या करना चाहिए मुझे? So at that time, my I will be suppressed, and I need to think about the organization. So organizational goal is to get 50 dresses in minimum cost, but my friend is giving the same 50 dresses in higher cost, which is much more than the market price. So that's why I am not going to contact my friend. I need to keep that personal relationship aside, and I have to think from organizational point of view. So that's what this principle focuses on: subordination of individual interest to the general interest. Okay. Now, can you give any one example? Yes, anyone? See, in a staff meeting, if some decision, if we are going to take, right, in a democratic way of taking the decision, if something is related to the organization, which is for the benefit of the organization, so in that case, the individual should pursue the team interest over his or her personal interest. तो वो भी एक एग्जाम्पल हो सकता है. Sorry.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, while planning an activity or what we are going to teach, like for example, there are groups in teachers, like science ka group, maths ka group. So while planning which activity they can conduct for teaching in the class, So over there also a group input is required. You can't take कि मुझे ये activity लेना है, so I'll take that activity.
Yes.
You have to go with the group.
Yes. So I guess you can't be like that. I'm much more comfortable in this one activity, so we should go with this. So you need to consider everyone, whoever is in the team, and think, and always go with the team. But the majority of people, they are in favor of, they have you have to just accomplish that task first. Coming to the next one, next principle. Now again we are having two images. One is all are together. Another one, second image, is one person is standing at the center and others are just surrounding him. So what can we understand with this? It means there will be two conditions. One condition is where everyone is together, and in another condition you can see the arrow marks, it is going from inside to outside. So it can indicate that the orders or the decisions, they are coming from a single individual, or it is coming from the center and it is going towards the towards different people. From the center it is coming and it is reaching to different people of the institution. So it means that this is the principle of centralization and decentralization. So when I am saying centralization, it means that it is the power to take the decision. And in this, what is happening? It is the one individual, it is one or group of people, maybe the management people, they are taking the decision themselves. So they are lowering the importance of subordinates. जब हम उनकी importance lower कर देंगे तो क्या होगा? At that time, we are not giving importance to my subordinate, those who are working under me. There are some cases, some incidents where you need to lower the importance of your subordinates. Say, for example, if you want to come up with a decision, if you are framing any policy, at that time you cannot involve everyone, whoever is the part of the institution, right? Final decision जब भी आता है वो सिर्फ selective लोग ही लेते हैं, and then only it comes to the institution and it is being implemented. But before the decision, when we are thinking about a decision, that this decision we have to take some decision related to the enhancement of infrastructure. Suppose this is the example, we need to enhance our infrastructure. ये एक हमारे पास प्रॉब्लम है, हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ठीक नहीं है इंस्टीट्यूशन में. So how we are going to solve this problem? For that we will ask the suggestions from our individual, from our subordinates. So when this is happening, when you are calling for the suggestions, when you are asking for the suggestions before the final decision, it means at that time decentralization is taking place. Decentralization means increasing the importance of subordinates. When you are giving more importance to subordinates, it means they are free enough to suggest anything to you for the betterment of the institution. You are asking them to take any initiative. So you have given complete freedom to them so that they can share their thoughts, their experience and everything, right? Once you will get the ample number of thoughts from different people of the individual, at that time, then you will convert this decentralization into the centralization part. So it means जब final decision की बारी आएगी, तब हम उनको फिर साइड में करेंगे, साइड लाइन करेंगे, and then at that time only the main people, the board of directors you can say, or the trustees, all those will sit and they will consider all the pros and cons which has been given in phase 1, where the suggestions were asked, their thoughts were asked. So you will be considering all the pros and cons of everything, and then you will reach to the final decision. So this is what the centralization and decentralization. So it means it will differ from organization to organization, what kind of decision you are going to take. It is always it will differ from individual to individual or organization to organization. So centralization is power to take decision lies in few hands, and decentralization is when the power is given to everyone. So all the time we cannot give the power to everyone all the time in an institution. You cannot just follow decentralization thing, right? अगर हम सबको सब चीजें बोलने देंगे, करने देंगे, let us decide all 100 of us together. Suppose in our institution 100 people are working, so if everyone is free enough to take the decision in a particular task, so it will be difficult. You won't be able to reach to the final decision. So that's why it's better to shift to centralization from decentralization to the centralization part. So before taking the final decision, always consider the opinion of your subordinates, right? So there should be, just like authority and responsibility, this principle also says that there should be a balance between the two, balance between the centralization and decentralization. So it will depend upon the nature of work, the efficiency or the experience or the decision making capacity of the employees or the executives. All right, so this is the principle of centralization and decentralization. तो नाम से ही समझ में आ रहा है सेंट्रलाइजेशन है मतलब सेंटर वन, everything will be taken care by this person who is standing at the center, and from there the orders will come, final orders will come, and everyone has to follow those decisions, those policies, rules and regulation, everything. And decentralization is when even the other people, they also got the opportunity to share their opinions, and their suggestions are welcome by the institution. At that time decentralization is taking place. Clear है सबको ये?
Yes, ma'am.
So till now we have covered few of the principles. Let's revise again. So we have covered division of work, we have covered authority and responsibility, then discipline, then unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest to general interest, remuneration, centralization and decentralization, and scalar chain. तो यहाँ तक अभी तक हमने किया है, and one more, एक और किया था ना, equity. So till now we have covered 10 of the principles of management. So let's move ahead. Next is principle of order. Now when we are saying order, it means order matlab if an institution, if someone is asking you, I want to meet principal, so where you will send that person to?
First, school office.
Yes, you will send the concerned person to, or you will just say this thing, you can just go to that site. There you can find principal offices there. If someone is asking for a teacher, you will just say that that teacher must be in the staff room, right? If someone is asking for the librarian, you will say he or she will be available in the library. So it means you are very much clear whoever which person will be there, will be available in which room, right? You are very much clear with their roles. So order means something which is arranged properly in a proper manner, in an order manner. If I am saying go and bring turmeric for me, तुम अपने घर में कहाँ जाओगे? टर्मरिक को
Kitchen
ढूंढने
में।
किचन में जाएंगे, हमें अच्छे से पता है कौन सी चीज कहाँ पे है, राइट? तो वो चीज क्या है, यू हैव kept everything in order. So every right person is placed at the right job. So that was for the example one, right? And the right thing is placed at the right place. तो अगर टर्मरिक है तो किचन में ही, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली 90% चांसेस है सबने टर्मरिक किचन में ही रखा होगा. रेयर एक्सेप्शनिस्ट विल ऑलवेज बी देयर, राइट? हो सकता है किसी के किचन में जगह नहीं है तो उसने बाहर रखा हो, लेकिन 90% चांसेस आर देयर यू विल गेट द टर्मरिक इन योर किचन, यू विल गेट द सॉल्ट इन योर किचन, राइट? अगर मैं तुम्हें कुछ और बोल रही हूँ, कुछ बेडरूम आइटम बोल रही हूँ, तो वो तुम्हें बेडरूम में ही मिलेगा मोस्ट प्रोबेबली. सो वी आर अज्यूमिंग दीज थिंग्स. So that's what in an institution, it is very important to keep everything in order. So everything means, when we are saying everything, it is talking about the material resources. So in the institution, we have two orders, that is material order and the social order for human resources. So material order or the physical resources, you can say that there should be a proper place for everything and everything should be in its right place. For example, for books. So whenever books are there, so library should be there to keep all those books. तो अगर वो बुक्स जो है, आप इसको कहीं और नहीं रख सकते, गेम्स के रूम में बुक्स नहीं रख सकते, बुक्स ऑफ योर academic subjects. So if books are there, there should be a library. So there should be a proper place for that, for keeping of those books. And in libraries, if you enter the library, any library, the books should be at their right place. If you want to take out English books, so you can find out in the library there are different sections which are maintained. So one is for language, one is for science, one is for maths. Why these sections are maintained? Because it will be easy for the individuals to go there and get the books, right? क्विकली तुम्हें वो बुक मिल जाती है. अगर मैं लाइब्रेरी में कहीं भी कोई भी बुक रख दूंगी एंड आई एम आस्किंग यू ऑल टू गेट द वन एजुकेशनल मैनेजमेंट बुक फॉर मी, सो इट विल बी अ टाइम कंज्यूमिंग थिंग. अगर वो लाइब्रेरी हैफिजली होगी कि कहीं पे भी, इट विल बी लाइक ट्रेजर हंट वी आर प्लेइंग, isn't it? So everything, whatever we are placing, there should be a proper place so that we can keep those materials over there. So order, principle of order says that it focus that right things should be placed at the right manner. तो अगर हम किसी भी मटेरियल रिसोर्सेज की बात कर रहे हैं, फिजिकल रिसोर्सेज की बात कर रहे हैं, वो सही जगह पे हमें मिलना चाहिए. Then only we can save the time, then only there will be no chaos in the institution. If inspection team is coming in our institution and they are asking me that show me your attendance record of your students, तो in that case मुझे कहाँ से मिलेगा? Should I go to canteen or should I run here and there? No, I have a proper place of maintaining the attendance record. That's why we have our attendance muster. On daily basis, we are taking the attendance of the students, maintaining their records, and we are keeping all those attendance muster in a specific place, so that when something like this is it is coming towards us, so we should not get confused. We should be able to take out those records, and those records should be made available to the inspection team in this example, right? तो इसीलिए हर चीज को उसकी राइट जगह पे होना बहुत जरूरी है. Similarly for human resources, same is for the human resources. Human resources means the people who are working, the employees who are working in the institution, right? तो जो बात हमने मटेरियल रिसोर्सेज के लिए बोली थी, वही ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज के लिए है. देयर शुड बी अ प्लेस फॉर एवरीवन. हर किसी के लिए रूम होना, हर रूम की मतलब एक सिटिंग प्लेस होनी चाहिए. if you want to get the information related to your admission process, so it means the clerk should be there. और वो क्लर्क कहाँ मिलना चाहिए? एडमिन ऑफिस में. ऐसा ना हो वो क्लर्क आपको लाइब्रेरी में मिल रहा है. हाउ विल यू गेट टू नो दैट द क्लर्क इज एट library? So because the job of the clerk is to sit in the admin department so that he or she can handle everything related to the administrative work. So that's why there always the place should be there for everyone. If it is a clerk, the clerk room should be there. If it is a principal, then principal office should be there. For teachers, staff rooms are there, right? For students, the classrooms are there, different labs are there. For TNs even, they have also their own specific place. So always a place should be provided for everyone, and everyone should be placed in their appointed place, right? तो वो सब उसी जगह पे मिलने चाहिए। वैसा ना हो कि क्लर्क है, उसको जगह भी दी हुई है एडमिन ऑफिस की, बट देन टू दैट क्लर्क इज सिटिंग somewhere else. So it means that it is indicating that the clerk is not aware of his or her duties and responsibilities, right? For some time he or she can may just roam around. इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि वो stick हो गए हैं उस chair के साथ, उस room के साथ. For some time they can just go here and there, maybe for some work related thing, but not all the time, right? अगर teachers हैं, all the time they cannot be outside the staff room or the classrooms, right? पता चला सारे teachers जो हैं वो canteen में बैठे हैं, so that is not worth. So there should be a proper place for everyone, and everyone should be aware of their duties and their responsibilities. Then only it will be highlighting the principle of order. Then only it will be focusing on the orderly arrangement of things and people. So this is how they can make the work easy. So for a manager, it will be easy for the manager to find out a specific person, or to find out a specific material resources or the physical resources. So provided they should be at their places, proper places which has been fixed for them. So this is the principle of order. So here order, इससे confuse नहीं होना है, ये command का order नहीं है. This is the orderly arrangement, systematic arrangement of things, systematic arrangement of people. Next principle, you can see in this image, a person is sitting on his desk, and if you see the chair of this person, नीचे roots दिख रहे हैं. So what it is indicating? If the roots are there, it means it will help the individual to be there for longer time, right? Roots हम सबको पता है, plants में root का क्या importance है. Similarly, this image, it has been prepared in such a manner that it is focusing that the employees, they should be, sorry, I got muted. So this is the principle of stability of personnel, which focus on the fact that they should the people, they should not leave the institution frequently, right? So as a manager, we need to focus on various factors, जो हमने पहले भी किया था, जो remuneration में भी किया था, same, that is one of the way to make the people motivated, and so that they should feel satisfied with their job. So similarly, once they are satisfied with their job, so it means they are not going to shift from your institution to another one. So you need to think from different perspective how your employee is satisfied in the institution, so that he or she should not leave the institution. There should be no void related to that person, right? So do not change the employees frequently, because it is the reflection of, you can say that, inefficient management. If an institution, if you find that every week the vacancies are coming and coming, this will give the negative impression. The reputation of the institution will be at stake. People will think why there are so many vacancies every time, because the people who are working over there, the employees of that institution, they are not satisfied. Maybe they are overburdening the individual, or the work culture is not good, or the climate of the institution is not good. So the people, they are not giving their maximum input, right? Maximum outputs are not available. So there can be a number of factors which the people in the society, they can think of. So that's why always try to adjust, always try to just make sure that, ensure that the people should not leave the institution frequently. कभी कभी लीव करना, that is fine. That is for from a professional point of view, people, they want to jump from one institution to another institution for their betterment, for their professional growth. Sometimes they can see the hike in the salary also, so that's why they are jumping. So it is the duty of that educational institution to absorb that particular individual. Do not let that person go away from your institution if particular individual is capable of hard working है अगर वो, तो उसको कभी भी let go करने की कोशिश ना करो. उसको जितना चाहे उसको वापस खींचो अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन में, because that will be the one of the asset for your institution, and that will be helpful for the benefit of your institution. So try to use various strategies, try to make a good rapport with that institution as a manager, with that individual as a manager. Good rapport should be there. Provide good opportunities. Use all the principles of educational management so that the individual is fully satisfied over there, and he or she should not think of leaving that job. So this is what the principle says: stability of personnel. So lower the prestige of it, it can lower the prestige of the organization, and it can create a feeling of insecurity of among the employees. So these things should be neglected in an institution. Another one is raising hands. Raising hands, this is nothing but the next principle, that is principle of initiativeness. Principle of initiative, the name itself is giving you the idea. It is when the opportunities are given to the employees, to various individuals, so that they can express their own thoughts, they can take the initiative. The manager or the head of the institution should encourage the various employees, so that they can take the initiative of doing some work. They can express their own thoughts at any time. Their thoughts should be welcomed by the individual. Their suggestions should be welcomed by the individual. So not all the time managers should say, no, you just don't raise your hand, you don't say this thing, you're not supposed to give the suggestions. So you cannot behave like the autocratic kind of nature. So you need to be democratic, so that the people, they can develop good rapport with you as a manager. If you are the manager of the institution, so at that time you need to try to develop good relationship with your subordinates. For that, you need to just give freedom to your subordinates, so that at times when the situation is like that, when you have to take the decision, the people should be given opportunity to suggest. They should be encouraged to take the initiative. If something new is coming in the institution, at that time you should motivate your subordinates to take the initiative and lead the group. So all these are the various ways, so that the manager can just boost up the morale of the individual or the subordinates. So always welcome their thoughts, so that they should be ready to take the initiative. They should be ready to take the risk, right? अगर तुम उनको चांस ही नहीं दोगे कुछ करने के लिए, so they are not going to learn anything, and at one time they will feel that the manager is not at all welcoming us, our thoughts are not at all welcome. So maybe we are least important for the institution, so they will stop thinking for the betterment of the institution. So that's why this balance should be maintained by the manager. Try to give the opportunity to the people, to his employees, so that they can suggest their new ideas, new innovative ideas, experiences, and they can do the work in a convenient manner. And last one is Esprit de Corps. This is the last principle, 14th principle, Esprit de Corps, also known as spirit of cooperation. So the name itself is giving you the idea in this principle. क्या होगा? Manager should take efforts to develop. क्या develop करेगा वो? Cooperation कब आता है?
When there is trust among individuals and they both can rely on each other for a specific task.
Yes, when there is trust, when you are having a team, at that time the cooperation will be there. The team spirit should be there. So first duty of manager is to develop a team spirit among the subordinates. They all should have the feeling of you can say unity should be there in the team, entire team. If unity is not there, it will be difficult for them to accomplish the task. So use of we is very, very important in place of I. So rather than going with I, always when it comes to the institution, the acknowledgement of we should be there. We all are together. The feeling of loyalty should be there. The feeling of enthusiasm should be there. So cooperation should be there. By this, the benefit of this is the harmony, the good relationship can develop among uh, all the individual. They will start respecting each other. If you are respecting each other, respecting in terms of their behavior, their thoughts. So if you know to respect each other's thought, so you will not go towards the negative side. Always you will be ready to cooperate each other, to help each other. Same is with you all. When you are into a group activity, you are helping each other in a team, right? So if someone is lacking in one particular area, the other people, they are trying to boost the morale of the person who is weak in a particular area, and then all will come together to give us the final uh, uh, result. So that is what the charm of working in a team. So cooperation is very, very important. Spirit of cooperation should be developed all the time by the educational manager.